Hello beautiful people, thank you for tuning in. I'm Akira, and in this training video, I'm going to show you some of the exercises that I do to help me warm up before I train legs. It's how I warm up my legs and warm up my hips before I go through a very strenuous leg training exercise routine. So, typically what I'll do is I'll go on the Stairmaster. I'll go on the Stairmaster for anything from 5 to 10 minutes. Nothing too crazy, nothing fast. I typically like to go slow because what I'm doing is I'm trying to focus on squeezing as many muscles as I can per step versus trying to step really fast, get my heart rate up. I know I'm gonna get my heart rate up based on how intense I'm making that contraction. So there's a lot of heavy breathing going on the Stairmaster. Another thing that I like to do is the treadmill. I set the treadmill up on its highest incline, and I'm, again, just like on the Stairmaster, I'm really focusing more on the stepping, just walking and focusing on squeezing through my glutes, my hamstrings, squeezing through my hamstrings, glutes, everything. Just really focus on making a tight connection. And again, a lot of heavy breathing going on the Stairmaster. So on the Stairmaster, I typically go 5 to 10 minutes. Next thing I do to warm up my hips, what I'll do is I'll get one of these little lat mats, squat down, just this. This is something that we used to teach our gymnasts to open up their hips for their overstretches. What I do is put my feet up against the wall just like this. What you're gonna do? Can you come around this side? Yeah, as you can see me. What you're trying to do is basically make like a 90-degree angle from your legs and also from your hips. So your elbows on the floor like this, and feet are flat, and you're gonna focus on pushing your knees out. You don't want to do this one here, although this one is fine. I notice that I get a better stretch in my hips when I keep my body in this particular angle here. And it's a little bit more challenging. Now the breathing on this one is a deep breath. And breathe out slow. And as you're breathing out, you're slowly pushing your knees outward. Now, it's gonna get to a point where it feels like your body's gonna break. Don't go there. What you're gonna do is come up a little bit higher. When I say come up a little bit higher, that means squeeze your knees together. What you wanna do at this point, once you feel like you've reached that point where you've gone down as far as you can, take a deep breath, and you wanna focus on squeezing inside of your hips together, as tight as you can, as tight as you can. And then, once you feel like you squeeze as tight as you can, take a deep breath, and let it out slow. Think of taking a very exaggerated breathing out step. So what that does, it helps to relax your hip flexors and allows you to go deeper and deeper into your splits. Now this to me is a very well, I only did that for a few seconds, as you can tell I'm very, very tight. So when you do this one, it's very important because, can you see me from the side? Typically when you're squatting, it's important that your hips are fluid in that particular position, because as you're squatting down, you're still hitting that particular position. That's gonna allow you to keep your chest up, right? So as you're squatting down, it allows you to keep your chest up versus doing one of these here Superman squats. And that's what you don't want. The reason why people typically do that is because their hips are really, really tight, or the ankles are really, really tight. So this particular movement is really focused on helping you, my friends, out to open up your hips and get more flexibility and range of motion. It'll make you more effective, it's safer, and it's gonna be better for your gains. And that's what matters. All right, next up is a lunge. When I do this one here, this is another one that I teach my gymnasts. Your right leg is flat down, left leg is up. When you do this one, you could tuck your chest to your knee, but I find that I get a better stretch in my hip flexor when my chest is all the way back. So typically what I tell my gymnasts, when I tell my friends, I keep my arms, both hands on my knee, arms are straight. That helps me to mentally tell myself, okay, now I gotta keep my chest up. So as I'm doing that, I'm really focusing on sliding my knee farther back from my heel, and I'm really thinking about trying to push my hips straight down. What that does, it helps me to simulate almost a straight line from the top of my thigh to the bottom of my hamstring. I don't know if you can see, there's like a straight line almost. Again, I'm actually really tight. But anyways, as you're doing this particular movement, you're really focusing on opening up your hips. Now all these stretches that I'm doing, I'll do for at most 45 seconds to a minute, nothing more than that. After I finish that one, then I'm gonna turn and do the other side. Reason why I don't like to do more than a minute on each side, 45 seconds to a minute on each side, because I feel like it makes me too loose, and and I lose the connection in my muscles to focus on just contracting. So the goal here really isn't to stretch your muscles till you're hitting your full split. Not exactly. You're really just trying to open up your hips. So again, the idea here is to focus on keeping your chest back, driving or pushing your hips straight down. Once you feel that, it's really easy to connect with that particular position. In fact, you can see I don't even have my arms straight. I can tell where my hip is actually starting to opening up, and I can feel it. And then what you can do is to stretch your hamstrings, is keep your foot legs straight and stretch down. But that one's really easy for me. I like to just stand, just your regular standard straddle position, legs straight out just like this, lean forward, hands on the floor, and stretch. And this way I can hit both hamstrings at the same time. My goal when I'm doing my squats isn't so much to do my splits. I've already done that, so I'm not trying to do my splits in this particular type of training. I'm really just trying to focus on opening my hips just enough to where I'm giving my muscles a chance to breathe. So there you go. I'm doing everything for about a minute, and then I go back around again. I keep going until I feel like my hips are open enough. So for me, I will typically spend about 5 to 15 minutes doing that, and it varies based on how much energy I'm feeling or how much I'm getting out of that type of movement and how I'm breathing and how I'm connecting with it. So for you, it might be 15 minutes, it might be an hour, it might even be 5 minutes. But I encourage you to do these stretches because it'll help you get more flexibility and more power in that movement. So there you go, there you have it. Big shout out, thank you to Stay Fit Gym. Thank you for allowing me to make these videos and share this experience with you.